Good morning and welcome to the latest high school uh, Zoom lesson. We have Miss Molly here to go through our stuff with us today. We're going to play our Wheel of Fortune Jeopardy game about the weather. But before we do that, we're going to go over the weather chart that we started last week where classrooms looked at the weather and we recorded, and we'll see what kind of trends we can find. I'm going to hold up the board and I'll have Miss Cass and Miss Andrea go through it. And if you notice any trends, you can let your parents know or whoever is watching this with you. And let me pick this up. Here we go. You see that okay?
Yep. All right. So let's look at this. And if we look, we have 5 days that we recorded the weather. We started Wednesday, and then we recorded the weekdays. We didn't record the weekends, but we recorded the weekdays. And I do see a little bit of a trend on a few of the days. It looks like 3 of the days we had 40-degree weather. And on 4 of the days we had sun.
All right, and I see that seeing that we we had 4 days of sun, that means there's only one day with something different. Oh, Mr. John found that one, and that day it was cloudy. I don't see any snow or any rain last week, so we could say it was a sunny week last week because we had mostly sun on there. And then you can look at our temperatures, and I think I see 1, 2 warm days. The one with like that orange color on Wednesday and on Monday. So we had 2 warm days. But if we look at the rest of the days, we count 1, 2, 3 days that it still felt cold outside. And sometimes it can make a difference on whether it's sunny or cloudy or windy on how much a temperature feels to us. So the same temperature sometimes can feel warm and sometimes it can feel cold. So kind of those middle temperatures. So that's kind of what our weather looked like last week. I'd say it was a pretty nice week getting ready for spring.
So thank you, Miss Cassie and Miss Andrea. Now I'm going to share my screen and we'll go through our Jeopardy game. Same format as before. We have our wheel that shows the categories, and we'll just talk through everything, find the matching definition, and that's how we'll do our game. So here is the game board. The categories today are measuring weather is in green, elements of weather is in blue, and that just elements means like the parts of weather. In red is describing weather, so the kinds of words we use to say what the weather is. And then in orange is wet weather, how weather can be different, the different types of storms and such, precipitation. So we will get started with our wheel. And we'll give it a spin here. And the first one we have is measuring weather for 100. Oops. Measuring weather for 100. So what kind of word or what kind of category do we use to measure the weather, to say what the weather will be like? There are 4 choices here. They're forecast, meteorologist, thermometer, and radar. So meteorologist shows a person. I don't think it's going to be meteorologist is what the weather will be like. And let's see. thermometer. This picture, a little closer. This picture, it says a tool used to measure how hot or cold something is. So I don't think that says what the weather will be like. At the top, we see a series of pictures, kind of like what we made in our weather chart. And if you read the words, it says what the weather will be like. So forecast is that's what that means. The forecast says what the weather is going to be like. Take that off the board and give our wheel another spin. And it's wet weather for 200. It says, this is frozen ice crystals that fall softly from the clouds. So we'll go to our wet weather choices. And
All right, so I see one here that doesn't show anything falling from the clouds. So we can immediately eliminate cloud because the picture doesn't show anything falling. So we have 3 options that show something falling from the clouds. So we know that rain feels like water when we're outside, and we can see it rain, and it rains in our hands, and so that's like water that falls in from the clouds into our hands. So we can eliminate rain. And a storm is just like super heavy rain. So let's look at snow. Snow, the definition for snow says frozen ice crystals that fall softly from the clouds. And we know that if we look at snowflakes, they're little crystals. So I think snow is the correct word we are looking for.
yeah, snow, little ice crystals. Okay, we'll give it another spin. And wet weather for 300.
All right. I can do this one.
Okay.
All right.
It says this is water that falls to the ground from clouds.
Looking at this one, this is water. So we have cloud, rain, or storm. We're just in this category. And we know that cloud said no. We just talked about that. And storm, its description is a little bit different, right? Because it has rain or snow in it. So we want to say no for storm. So that leaves us with rain. And that one just has the water. So it's just the water. And that's what our clue was. So rain goes with that clue for that one.
All right, next one up is elements of weather for 300. This is a star in the center of the solar system that gets heat, light, and energy to Earth. And this is something that we talked about in my classroom yesterday, something that warms the air. And if we look at the first one here, we see a tree blowing over, and that doesn't look very warm to me. That looks like wind. And if we go down to the next picture, it's that thermometer picture again. This time it says temperature, and this says how hot or cold the air is, but it doesn't say that it actually warms. So we'll go down to the next one. Here we have a big picture, yellow circle with little spikies coming out of it. That looks like the sun. Let's read what it says about the sun. It says, a star in the center of the solar system that gives heat, light, and energy to Earth, which is the same words as the clue. So I think that is the correct answer to our question. Back to the wheel and we give it a spin. Describing weather for 200. This means at a comfortable degree of heat.
Okay, so let's look at our choices. We have cold, warm, cool, or hot. And I think the word we're looking for is comfortable degree of heat. So what makes us comfortable? I'm going to say when it's cold that I'm not necessarily comfortable. So I'm cold's not our answer choice. And when it's hot, when it's really hot and we're sweating and we're fanning ourselves, and we're trying to get inside where it's a little bit cooler, that's not really that comfortable either. So then our choices are cool or warm. And cool says a low degree of heat, but ooh, look at warm. Warm says at a comfortable degree of heat. So I think when we're feeling warm, we're comfortable. So warm's the correct answer.
Back to the wheel. Measuring weather for 400. This is going to be a hard one, so Miss Andrea better be ready.
Okay.
This is a tool used to show the location of rain, snow, or hail.
All right, so we have our 3 choices left. I see the first one says meteorologist, and that talks about a person. So I'm going to say no, because we need a tool. So my next 2 choices are thermometer or radar. And they both are a tool. But a thermometer talks about the temperature. And radar talks about the location, and we've got those words in there: rain, snow, or hail. So between thermometer and radar, I'm going to go with that bottom one, radar.
Kind of looks like a golf ball or a soccer ball on top.
Yeah.
Okay, my turn again. Here we go. And I get to do measuring weather for 200. And it says, this is a person who studies and tells about the weather. Ooh, so I think this one will be quick because we're talking about a person here. And in one of these pictures, there are 2 pictures, and in one of them, there's a person, and in the other picture, there's not a person. So let's look at the first one that has a person in it, and it says meteorologist is a person who studies and tells about the weather. And those 2 things match with the description of the clue. So the answer is meteorologist, also known as the weatherman or weatherwoman. So here we go, spinning for Miss Cassie. She gets describing weather for 400.
All right.
Another hard one, so here we go. This means at an uncomfortably high degree of heat.
Ooh, and this is what I talked about last time. We talked about being comfortable, and we said when it was warm, we were comfortable. And we already said that when we're cold, we're not comfortable. But that means without heat. We're looking for uncomfortable at a high degree of heat. So even though we can be uncomfortable when it's cold, cold means without heat. And the word we're looking for means a high degree of heat. So let's look at hot, because cold and hot were our choices where we're pretty uncomfortable. We already said cold doesn't mean what we're looking for. So let's look at hot. Hot says at an uncomfortably high degree of heat. So I think that hot is our correct answer.
You know, Ms. Castor, maybe some of us who are comfortable at cold temperatures.
Maybe, but maybe we should say like freezing, because I don't know anybody who's comfortable when it's freezing.
Let's spin the wheel. Miss Andrea is going to do elements of weather for 400, which is, this is what the air and sky feel and look like at any time or place. Good luck, Miss Andrea.
All right, so my choices are wind, temperature, or weather. So it's a long one, lots of things in that clue. So the first choice is wind, and that doesn't make sense with that clue. That is not the right answer. So next we have temperature or weather. Well, temperature is how we're going to see how warm or cool something is. So I don't think that one makes sense. So let's think about the weather. The weather is, we know, is what the sky looks like, how it changes. And the words here say what the air and sky feel and look like at any time or place. And that is our match. So that describes the weather. That is the definition.
Okay, we're getting to the end. Only a few more clues left. The next one I'll take, oh, it's another hard one of those 400-point clues. This one is for wet weather. So here I go. This is when there are high winds, heavy rain, or snow. And the choices are cloud, which there doesn't look to be anything happening with that cloud. It's just kind of sitting there, white and fluffy. But if we go to the next picture, there's another cloud, but there's all kinds of things happening with that cloud. There's a lightning bolt, there's some rain coming down, or maybe that could be hail. I'm going to read the definition of storm. It says, when there are high winds, heavy snow, or heavy rain, or snow. And that is the same as the board, storm, when there are high winds, heavy rain, or snow. And Miss Cassie is going to get describing the weather for 300.
All right, well, I am on a roll with describing the weather, so let's keep it going.
All right, and this one says, this means at a low degree of heat.
All right, so our choices are cold or cool. We talked about cold last time, and we said cold meant without heat. So that would leave us with cool. So let's look at the definition of cool. It says, ooh, at a low degree of heat. So that matches, and cool is our answer choice.
Okay, only 5 left. Let's see what Miss Andrea is going to do for us. Elements of weather for 100. And it says, this is moving air.
All right, moving air. All right, wind or temperature. I'm looking at the pictures. I see that tree is moving. So I am going to say wind is the right answer. That wind will move the air.
Wind can move trees, wind moves your hair, wind moves anything that's laying on the ground, it moves flags. So wind does lots. And I think, yeah, we're to this. It's going to be pretty easy because we only have one question per each category left. So let's knock out measuring weather. And it says, this is a tool used to measure how hot or cold something is. And that goes back to the thermometer. That's how we know if we need to wear our coats or if we can wear shorts. When we go outside, it tells us how hot or cold the air is. Will Miss Aunt Cassie get to close out? Oh, no. She's going to do wet weather which says, this is a group of tiny water droplets in the sky. And it is our good friend,
Mr. Cloud.
Mr. Cloud.
A group of tiny water droplets in the sky.
Well, clouds are water. We talked a little bit about that in my classroom yesterday. Which one will Miss Andrea get?
All right, describing.
Cassie's describing the weather.
Yep.
This means without heat.
I think we have the correct answer left. We do. We talked about that cold without heat, and that is the one that we have left. That is the right answer. It is cold when there's no heat.
Which makes sense. And the last one is elements of weather for 200. This is a measure of how hot or cold something is, which is the temperature. And it's the same picture as thermometer because that's how we know what the temperature is. We use a thermometer. And that is the last one. So thank you, Miss Molly, for coming to our Zoom. Thank you, everyone, for playing at home. And we will see you later.
Bye.